Hi, everybody. Karen Roby here with Brandon Vigliarolo for TechRepublic. We're talking Microsoft Build and Brandon, specifically the keynote address. What stood out to you? What are some of the highlights?
Yeah, so, really Satya Nadella's keynote was short. It was only 30 minutes long. So he really crammed a lot in there. Honestly, he left a lot up to the speakers who were coming in the couple days. I think it was Monday or Tuesday to Thursday this week. So wrapping up today, and, we probably have coverage of some of the specific breakouts. So if you want particulars, you might want to check those out. But he did hit on a few things that I thought were important to mention. First off was some changes to Azure App Services that will allow them to run anywhere. And he was particularly looking at that as kind of like you can run this on all kinds of different services now. PyTorch Enterprise also coming to Azure. One of the big other announcements I thought was that they're adding PowerFX low-code programming they're integrating PowerFX low-code programming into another system so that basically you can code in plain speech, in natural English. So you can write a sentence out, tell the computer what you want it to do, and if the system works well, it should interpret that and give you the code in response, basically. So you can, go even more natural language with your coding. And specifically, he also talked about what's next for Windows. Teased it, didn't say much, but said that some big changes for Windows were coming, some of the biggest changes to Windows in the past decade.
Wow, that's a pretty big statement, and that would lead me to ask you next is kind of your takeaways. Sometimes when we listen to these keynotes and different things from these tech giants, we're kind of reading between the lines on things or interpreting things that we think that they're saying or what's to come. So what's your take?
Well, specifically when it comes to Windows, I've got a few ideas, and I could be completely off base. Who knows? But he said that these are going to be specific updates to Windows, big ones, once in a decade sort of changes. He didn't mention Windows 10. He just said Windows, and Windows 10 is often the language that Microsoft used when describing the operating system. So we're looking at what potentially could be the next version of Windows. Or something. He also mentioned, and this is a quote from him, "We will create more opportunity for every Windows developer today and welcome every creator who is looking for the most innovative new open platform to build and distribute and monetize applications." He mentioned that in conjunction with, and just kind of separated from a sentence with Linux. And so part of me is wondering, is there going to be some sort of open source version of Windows, or are they going to change the kernel? There's a lot of speculation here, for developers and creators and just Windows users in general. Are they going to spin off a development version of Windows? Is that version going to have a different kernel? What are their plans? I don't know, but I'm really excited to see what they're planning on doing with Windows, because based on what Nadella said, and they don't use their language loosely. This was a pre-recorded keynote. So he knew exactly what he was going to say, and they wrote this thing carefully. And so I feel like even using the word Linux in conjunction with new Windows, to me, is kind of what does that mean? Does that mean a new kernel? What? I'm really excited to find out.
Yeah, I think that's part of the fun or excitement around it. I was reading late last night, some comments and, on different social media articles and things people were sharing. And that's the kind of cool part, is that people get excited, anticipating things and, speculating, if you will, as to what they think it all means.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about, I use Reddit a lot for following technology subreddits and stuff. And sometimes I'll see a headline, I'll get interested. The first thing I look at is comments, because I want to know what the people who ideally, of course, social media can have a lot of bad takes as well, but sometimes you find something in there and you're like, oh my God, this is potentially what it is. And then it turns out later on, it's true or close to it. And you're like, okay, so these comments and these people saying things and speculating can have a lot of value, at the very least, just to drum up excitement.
Yeah, absolutely. It sometimes makes me also feel a little better, okay, I'm not totally off base here. There's others, that have the same line of thinking and are seeing what I'm seeing. So, all right, great. Well, of course, we have much more, as you mentioned too, on, Microsoft Build. It's on TechRepublic and different offshoots of it and things like that. So, Brandon, we appreciate your coverage here of the keynote for us today. And we hope all you guys will check out all of our coverage on TechRepublic. Thanks for watching.